All right, thank you for staying with JKLIVE. We're back with Honorable Moses Kuria, Senior Presidential Advisor in the Council of Economic Advisors. Keep your questions coming at Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag JKLIVE. We'll pose some of the questions to Waziri in just a bit. But let's come back to current political affairs. You said that when the government fails, you all fail. Has the government failed in addressing this abductions issue?
Well, first of all, let's not start from the issue of failing or not failing. Let's address the whole issue of abductions. I think it's the most dangerous precedent that you can set for us as a country. Forget about the government. You know, we should have limits as a country. And this issue of abductions for me is a twin issue between two things. It's two sides of the coin. Of course, there's the issue of rule of law. Why would one resort to sorting out issues in a way that is outside the law? When we are a country that has, prided ourselves as a bastion of democracy, we made a lot of progress. You look at our very troubled history on this issue. I have proclaimed myself privately within government circles. I have proclaimed myself publicly, got my social media post, that I think that abductions is not the way to go. I don't know who is doing the abductions. But let me add a rider here. For me, it doesn't matter who is doing. Irrespective of who is doing the abductions, only one party has got responsibility over the security, the safety, and the lives of all of us. That's the government that I serve, okay? So for me, I'm unequivocal on that. That one, abduction is not the way to sort out grievances and disputes and unhappiness, yeah? But two, we may or may not know who is doing the abductions. Most important thing, cardinal point, it doesn't matter who is doing.
Okay.
The government of Kenya is responsible. We saw to the Constitution to safeguard the lives, the safety, the security of all of us. Yeah. And it's really my hope and prayer that we don't go through that route.
So who's the government in this circumstance?
The government is the entire government machinery, especially the security apparatus. Yeah.
So it's a security apparatus.
Yeah, it is part of the security apparatus to ensure.
To ensure. Pardon? They were expected in court today and did not appear.
And I really do hope that the Inspector General just appears to court. It is not a pleasant thing to appear in court. And I'm telling you.
So he shouldn't appear?
No, I'm saying it's not a pleasant thing, but you have no choice.
So should he or should he not?
He should appear in court.
Okay.
Everybody, someone should appear in court. We don't have that luxury.
Okay.
Ordinary Mwananchi does not have that luxury. Okay. So neither should senior officers in government have the luxury.
So as an advisor, what will you tell the president regarding this issue of abduction? Because he pronounced himself.
He has, and I believe him.
And I believe
him.
He's been given a last chance.
And I believe him. And I believe what he said in Homa Bay. I think he proclaimed the government position on this issue. That
he said that
abduction is not government policy. And he said that abduction should stop. And I really believe him, and I would want to take his word for it.
But it did not.
Sorry?
It did not. He said that the abductions will stop, but it did not.
Well, I have not heard of any new cases since then, just to be fair. Maybe if you have any new cases of abductions since the president spoke in Homa Bay, maybe you can.
So doesn't that then show that the president...
So as a matter of fact...
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there has not been any new cases of abduction.
Does that show then that the president knew who was doing the abduction?
No, I don't want to speculate on that, okay? I don't, I'm an economic advisor, I'm not a security advisor.
That you said when the government fails,
I'm not an economic, but let me just make, first of all, my personal position, private and public. I do believe that route, that path of abductions is a very dangerous path. And it has got to none of us. The other side of the coin, Trevor, is the rule of law is one side of the coin. The other one is that we're having this huge discussion about values. Is it right? Is it right for my children? I've got Gen Z children, Is it right for my children for me to watch as my children go into some, some of those things that we are watching on social media? Don't I have a responsibility as a parent? Don't I have a responsibility as a community? Forget about as a leader. Don't I have, because even you, everybody, all of us, the church, the media, parents, everybody, we do have a responsibility. So we need to have a twin conversation. One side of the conversation, the rule of law. The other side of conversation, this values issue and the whole thing of. And I think what I would advocate for now is a discussion on a national dialogue about the whole thing of values. I remember in the year 2001, I was working in as a senior banker in a country called Saudi Arabia. In that particular year, September 11 happened in the US. And there was all this hullabaloo about the country that I was working and residing and raising my family that time, Saudi Arabia. They had all this guilt because, the people who did the hijackings of September 11 came from that country. And initially there was exactly how we are dealing with this issue, going by brute force, going by, by all these measures, until the late King Abdullah, who was crown prince that time in that particular country, said, let's have a national dialogue from the grassroots. Not the kind of NADCO kind of dialogue that we had the other day, which for me is just an elite discussion. I think time has come that we need to have a real bottom-up national dialogue from communities, from church, from religious groups, from community organizations, from social organizations about this whole thing about values. Okay. Because values is not about government, my friend. Values is
that should be a separate conversation.
A separate conversation. Okay. We need to have a separate conversation about values and what kind of the moral fabric that we want to have as a society. Okay. So one side, we need to stop to ensure that abduction and any extra-legal ways is not the way to go. The other flip side, the things that we are seeing on social media is not acceptable. It's not good for you as a parent. Okay. It's not about the president. Okay. It's not about the country. It's not good for you. And by the way, the two things need to go hand in hand. Nobody would be happy to, the kind of caricatures you've seen people in coffins. Nobody would be happy. It is very annoying. But the reaction to that cannot be abductions. I remember some 8 years ago, me and my very good friend, the Honorable Raila Odinga, we used to have our spots. One particular time, and during the Pangani 6, remember the infamous Pangani 6? Yeah. And I had said some few things which saw me in behind bars. And Raila Odinga supporters in Kibra, they carried a coffin with me inside, presumably, and Migori as well. It was in Kibra and in Migori. Of course, I didn't know because I was inside, police cells for a whole week. When I came out, my mother asked me, I saw people on television carrying your coffin. What does that mean? That you're supposed to die? And I told him, Mom, give me time to find out whether I'm still alive. Okay. I was trying just to show that when people say that you are dead, does not mean that you die. Okay. It does not mean that you overreact, All right. I think we need to have tolerance in this country. We need to increase our bandwidth for tolerance. Bad things are going to be said about everybody. They've been said about everybody. Raila Odinga, the president, myself, everybody. But that we need to have a limit of, we need to be predictable that no matter how much I provoke Trevor, there's a limit which Trevor cannot go beyond. All right. That's on one side. But on the other side, this is our society. Okay. This is our country. These are our children. Are you proud? Which parent today would be proud to see their children doing the kind of caricatures that we are finding on social media? Which kind of parent would be happy for children to do the kind of things young kids, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds are doing there? Isn't it an indictment for all of us as a society? So when we talk about the whole of society, we talk about everybody. And I really want to ask Kenyans today, don't see this as an issue of government versus people. Just see this as you versus your children. Are you proud? Are you proud of the things you're saying? Yes, we are calling for tolerance. Yeah. We are saying we need to be predictable, but we need to know there's a limit we cannot go beyond. But at the same time, please, let's own this. It's all of us because, we are only here for a season. This country belongs to these people, to the young people.
That is one angle. Should the Inspector General resign?
I don't want to talk about it. I think I like the court ruling that came today. I came there. I like the court ruling that came today. Suppose the Inspector General resigns. Suppose he resigns. All those kind of things that we find in social media stop. So before you blame the Inspector General, let's look at this thing. I'm calling the whole of society approach.
So there's the parental side, but there's also the rule of law.
Yeah,
so the rule of law states that the Inspector General is in charge of the country security.
He needs to ensure that abductions are stopped.
But if he says he doesn't know who's abducting Kenyans, isn't that an indictment on the police service that he leads?
It is an indictment on police service.
So shouldn't he resign?
We should resign as Kenyans. Should we resign as being Kenyans? Because we are all guilty. When I watch my children do the kind of thing that's happening now on social media, should I resign as a parent?
These are two different things.
No, it is not. It's the same. That's the whole point. That's the whole mistake we are doing.
It's not the government's
fault. It is so easy to point fingers.
And I'm just saying, supposed to stick to its role. His role is to ensure the security. Has he failed, and what is the repercussion? The kind of abuse, the kind of moral erosion, the kind of degradation of our values that we are seeing there is so pervasive that nobody, like it said in the Bible, nobody has a moral authority to ask anyone to resign. Because we need all to resign as parents. We need to all resign as citizens. We need to all resign as Christians, as religious people. You know, it is so pervasive that, and that's why I'm calling for the dialogue. I think so it's much easier. If nobody has the moral standing to ask anyone to take responsibility, then how can you stand and speak to the younger generation and tell them this is the right direction?
I'm taking responsibility as a parent.
But why can't the government take responsibility?
I'm just saying, why do you want to start with the government? Why can't you start with society?
It's this backpassing.
No, why can't you? Exactly.
That's why there's
and that's where I came from, Trevor, when I talked about the national dialogue. We need to have a national dialogue for everybody. Romans 3 verse 23, for all have sinned and have fallen short of the glory of the Lord. All of us.
Okay.
Not just Inspector General, Trevor, media, church, parents, schools, everybody. Romans 3 verse 23.
So if nobody is going to take responsibility, let's go back. It's been about 7 months since the cabinet was dissolved. Would you have advised the president to dissolve the cabinet as he did?
Well, it is not easy to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. Of any republic for that matter. I think by the time that the president dissolved cabinet, the president is a servant of the people. And the people are saying that, you remember that story when Herod's daughter asked for, John's, head on a platter. And John had to be beheaded. Does it mean that John was guilty or not, or whatever? But it was mood that time. I'm not saying there is exact parallel. But if you remember, in July, what happened there, is that the mood of the country was something has to give way. And when you are president of a country, when it comes to that particular, a moment like that, then, you find yourself, you have to do something because, you have to be a sensitive and responsive president. You cannot be a stone, and, you have to show that at least on the very minimum, you are sensitive to the feelings of the people.
Yeah.
Do those feelings have to be right? Does that have to be justified? Maybe not.
The mood
and that is, I watched a clip yesterday. The Prime Minister of Canada resigning. Very painful decision. And I saw him talk about the meeting he had, the dinner he had with his children, and telling them the radio that he has, made that decision, has come to that point of resigning. What do you think goes to somebody's mind as a prime minister to get to the point whereby you have to sit with your family, you have to sit with your children, and tell your children that time has come for you, to resign as prime minister who is elected by the people, Does that mean that guy, is guilty or, But
it's about taking responsibility.
Absolutely. That's a burden. That's a burden that comes with leadership, You would hate, we are 54 million of us against one man. Can you imagine? 54 million people on one side and one man on the other side. The burdens you carry, the pains you carry, the tears that you carry, the scars that you carry on behalf of 54 million people. Sometimes I wonder why somebody would want to be president. It is not an easy.
This mood that you talk about, that the president needed to pacify at that time, many people feel that the public rage has just moved from the street to online. Was the dissolution of cabinet really worth it? Did it achieve what it needed to achieve?
I think the jury is still out I think the jury about whether dissolution of cabinet was still out, it was a good decision, was still out. The positive I find from it is that the public need to be satisfied, and some blood had to be spilled, unfortunately, in the process. The unfortunate thing is the loss of momentum in terms of government programs, because no matter how much you try, there's a learning curve. And, the people who are in the first set of cabinet that was there until, July 11th, when cabinet was dissolved, a good part of us had come from, working on the plan, on building the government, on building the platform on which we went to the public and promised the people. Then 2 years, made our mistakes, good, bad, everything. And at the time now when you are on takeoff, then this happens. So it's unfortunate, it's unfortunate. It's one of those things that's unfortunate. And, I would wish, if I had my way, I would wish that this kind of thing doesn't have to happen before, for example, 3 years is gone. Because, if you look at the cycle of a 5-year of a government, we don't have a 5-year cycle. We have a 4-year cycle. Why? We go for elections in August, okay? First Tuesday of August. What happened between August of that year, election year, and end of the year is forming government. We were sworn in the beginning of November, of 2022. Principal secretaries even worse. They came in just close to Christmas. So that those months are gone. It's for forming government, or the bulk of government. Then now you have year 1, which was 23 for us, year 2, 24. We only have 2 years, 25 and 26, okay? And then 27, of course, the season of madness sets in again. So actually we are on a 4-year work cycle, at best. When you get disrupted, at your point whereby you have now, look at us, for example, we were a very ambitious government because we decided that, yes, we have so many problems.
Yeah.
Yes, we've inherited debt. Yes, we have got some very shaky macroeconomic indicators, but do we stand still, stabilize the patient who came with bruises, debt, needed oxygen, needed some IV of blood transfusion? Do we stabilize the patient first, or do we feed the patient so that they can go to war? And we decided to do both. Trevor, it was very easy for us. It was very easy for us to say, we don't want any new programs. We just want to stabilize the patient. We just want to ensure that we come from the debt. We just want to ensure that we don't default. It was so easy for us to say, no, let's not do anything, just stabilize, the kind of government that we inherited. But we did. We made that extraordinary decision. And said, not only are we going to stabilize the patient, but we also say, come on, we went to the people, we went around the country, we promised people, some raft of, new initiative, which are our DNA, our own way. So 2 jobs, you have to do at the same time. Stabilize the patient and implement new programs. Because you don't implement a new program. It's not, a country is a country that exists in perpetuity. A government exists in perpetuity. It is not in isolation. We have to do
some of the projects that you started somehow stalled? If it's existing in perpetuity,
they have some of my program have stalled. And I want to assure you, Trevor, that it's a painful thing for me, looking at the kind of vision that I had, my industrial parks, my economic zones, my all that kind of thing. And that's why we are saying 2025. In fact, we have a new slogan. Tunasema huu ndio mwaka. Huu ndio mwaka. Because I wish, because the voter, Trevor, you and other voters, 22 million registered voters, you have your day, a very important day, that will come on the 10th of August in the year of our Lord 2027. I just wish people, postpone our day of judgment to the 10th of August 2027. So that now allow me to be destroyed by my own self-destructive devices. Allow me to work. Because that's a beautiful thing of our democracy. Because you will be in that ballot box alone, in the privacy and confidentiality of that booth, to vote me out. So because you have your day, why can't you let me have my day now to implement the programs? Okay. That's why we are saying now for us 2025 is everything. Okay. Because it's a year whereby all those programs, including the ones that we started, and that's why I'm calling the super highway that goes to people's pockets. The issue of giving people jobs, the issue of ensuring that more incomes goes to our farmers, the issue of ensuring that people's households have got a return on them, the issue of ensuring that we inject money, real money, into the economy and get the economy growing again, private economy. Yeah. You know, this is a year, how unfortunate, how unfair really, how unfair that the year that you are going to judge me with, yeah, it is exam time. You know, we are on study time. There's an exam coming. Yeah. Why would you want to make noise for me?
And yet,
yeah? Because, you know, KCP is coming only once.
Yes.
And now I'm just doing my revision because, you know, in another 30 months, I have got a date with destiny. Yeah. How unfair is it to make noise to me, you know, when I'm studying now, and you know you'll have your day as an examiner. Yeah. Or, you know, in another 30 months.
They are making noise because most of the promises have not been fulfilled. Even right now,
I didn't.
Money, there's no money into people's pockets.
It is okay, and it's fine, no problem. Let noise comes. Yeah. Noise is okay. Disruption is not. Those are two different things. Noise is okay. Discomfort is okay. In the first, you know, in the American elections, we talk about too much politics in Kenya. Do you know that America goes for elections every 2 years? Maybe they're in campaign mode forever. Now we are going to have President Trump sworn in 2020, on 20th of this month, just in another, you know, less than 2 weeks or so. In 2027, when we are going for our own elections, they're going to have their midterms. The approval ratings of any president in the first 2 years, always below 50% in the US. That's normal. That's the noise you're talking about. It is normal because people are saying, oh, wait a minute, we've not seen anything. Yeah. But that goes all the way until the full term. All I'm pleading is, am I saying we are angels? We are not angels. Am I saying we are the best people since sliced bread? No, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying kindly, for heaven's sake, because you have your power on the 10th of August 2027. Why can't you let me be right now? Okay. Yeah? Make noise, no problem, make noise. Don't disrupt. And what I'm saying about 2024, why it was a difficult year, it was not noise. Noise is okay. Disruption is okay. We were disrupted. We had to dissolve cabinet. Yeah. We had to make some very extreme things. We had to withdraw a finance bill. Do you know it is unprecedented? The first time in the history of the Republic of Kenya, 60 years, the first time that we don't have a finance bill. Because a finance bill is what finances budget. So we have got the expenditure part of our economy is working, but the revenue raising measures, you know, as you know, as carried through the finance bill are not there. It's unprecedented.
But that was as a result of the government being tone deaf. People said all this time that they had issues with the finance bill. Why didn't the government just listen?
What is the first time? When did people ever not have issues with finance bill? Let me tell you something, because I was in government, I was in cabinet. There were issues in that original finance bill about taxation of basic commodities, milk, bread, unga, etc. Before the bill went to parliament, they were withdrawn. Were withdrawn because of deaf? Can deaf people withdraw taxes on milk? Can deaf people withdraw taxes on bread, on unga? Yeah? So it's a government that was listening. Okay. But you know, when I think the mood of the country was set on that you know, they just wanted to spill blood and all that. And of course, so many other extraneous reasons. Finally, whose finance bill is it? Whose government is it? Whose country is it? Is it William Ruto's country? Is it Moses Kuria's country? Is it not all of us, all our country? Yeah. You know, do you want to be like my very good friend, my classmate, John Buddy? Or the other day I was joking with my friend, Wikris Abetsa Opalanya. I was telling him, my friend, you said people should not pay Hasra Fund when you are the other side. Now he's that unfortunate guy who has to go on around the country telling people how should they, because you know that really exposes, you know, the hypocrisy we have as a country. Okay. Now the guy whose responsibility it is to make sure that all of us, not few of us, pay taxes is one John Gogo Buddy. The guy who has to make sure that people will now pay the house for this Opalaja. Okay. So be careful what you wish for.
All right.
You might get it.
I sat with you sometimes here, and you said you called the Gen Z a powerful force, somewhere around June. Do you think they're still a powerful force?
I think Gen Z is a powerful force. Powerful. I want us to look at 3 terminologies in English: powerful, useful, destructive. Gen Z was, is, and will remain a powerful force because 75% of this country are young people, yeah, below the age of 25. The people above the age of 60, and I've said here with you before, you know, there's this convention called Convention of Protection Against Endangered Species, CITES, as you call it. People above age of 60 in Kenya need to be classified as endangered species under CITES because they are only 6%. Only 6%. 3 million people only are above the age of 60. This country belongs to the youth. This country belongs to the Gen Z. They have all the power. So powerful they are. Useful? No, they're not useful. Because that energy needs to be converted into power during the ballot. You do not need to go to the street. Because we are not a country that does not go for elections. Yeah? Every 5 years, you have that power. We have got 22 million registered voters. Only 15 million voted. 7 million, who are they? Gen Z. And I say you don't need to go to the street to say Ruto must go. Go and say in the ballot. So in that extent, it is a useless force. It's a useless power. And ultimately, when powerful does not become useful, it becomes destructive. Yeah? And that's what I believe. Okay. I have said it before here on this platform. I am saying it again. Our power, the power of our youth, can be used for innovation. You saw that report that came yesterday. 89%. 89% of Africa's funding of ventures, the private equity funding, the venture capital funding came to one country called Kenya. Why? Why can't they see that there's startups to be funded in Zambia? We have beaten Nigeria, we've beaten Egypt, we've beaten South Africa. Why? Because of the raw power of our innovation. That's the kind of usefulness that we want to see. Okay. Are people that are innovative. Money is voting with its feet by coming to this country to follow the innovation and the brains. Yeah. The most digital, techno-savvy country, probably in the whole world. The most, and you can see. Now, look here. We have got money coming from private equity. Almost, $1 billion every year is coming into this country. Should it go to people drawing silhouettes and cartoons? Or should it go to people who are coming up with the most radical, most transformative apps, that attract? Because we can use this power either way. Okay. Yeah? You can use a panga, to give you a good harvest. Okay. Or to harm other people. It's our choice. And I think that moment is here where we have to decide what we do with our youth. Do we use them as a powerhouse, as a driver for innovation, as a driver for our national competitiveness that's going to spur this country forward, or do we use it as a destructive force? Speaking of shifting power, in your social media posts some times back, you seemed to be celebrating the impeachment of the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. Absolutely not. Why did you want him out so bad? Absolutely not. And I'll give you the chronology. Rigathi Gachagua is my friend. We served together. I was his boss in the transport committee in parliament because I was his senior in parliament. By the time Rigathi Gachagua came to parliament, I was already a parliamentarian. And I was the vice chair of the transport committee where we served together. His little brother was my friend. We campaigned together. We were on that track together around the country, campaigning for Kenya Kwanza government. We served together. He was my boss in cabinet. We had our own differences of opinion, but we never disagreed publicly or anything. When I was in cabinet, we disagreed before, when we were campaigning, but we never disagreed when I was in cabinet. I treated Rigathi Gachagua with nothing but absolute respect, absolute reverence as my senior and my boss. never called him out publicly, except on this show. I remember I was with Yvonne Kora, on Citizen TV, when I said that Rigathi Gachagua is a divisive character. But that time, nobody said that. I said it. Just go back to your record. And I remember Yvonne asking me on this TV, do you think the deputy president is a divisive? I said he's a divisive character. Yeah? I called him out because when it comes to things like those, for me, it's personal. For me, it gets very personal. You remember, even after cabinet reshuffle, there was one of your colleagues, Professor Ngugi, Joroge Ngugi, who was being buried in some place in Subukia. And I stood there. Again, go back to records. And I said, I will not agree for deputy president to be impeached. But unfortunately, the former deputy president, the impeached deputy president, did not do himself a lot of favors. And for me, time came, even though I had said I would not support that impeachment, when I was left at zero option. One, I'm not a member of parliament anymore. I used to be a member of parliament for 2 terms. Yeah? I'm not a member of parliament anymore. Even when I was minister, my impeaching authority was parliament. Yeah? When somebody goes out there and saying, by December, all of you will be dead men and women walking, is that very wise? Is that very wise? Those are people we need. Forget about good people, quality or whatever, because 2 things. One, we are the ones who campaign for those people. Yeah? Kenya Kwanza enjoys majority in parliament. So if they are bad people, it is also our responsibility, because we went campaigning for them. I remember I was in Kenya Kwanza, courtesy of Chama cha Kazi, the party that was leading. And even then, Rigathi Gachagua was going and campaigning for UJ candidates against my own candidate. We campaign for these people. We can provide clips. Oh, it's only 2 years, my friend. Okay. So that's my first problem. This thing of me, I do believe, because most of the leaders, my friend, these are young people. Rigathi and Gachagua and I are almost reaching that age bracket called endangered species. And William Ruto. These people may not be the best, Bwana. But we owe it to them to mentor them, to support them, to help them when they are failing. They may not be as experienced as we are. Yeah. They may not be as old as we are. Yeah. So my first point of departure was threatening leaders, blackmailing leaders, instead of helping them to grow. Because everybody has gone through some internship. All right. For me, professionally, and others have gone through some internship. So that for me was crime number 1. Crime number 2, from where we come from my community, people are in this country, unfairly so, have always said, Kikuyus or Mt.Kenya people can not vote for another person from another tribe. 2022, we debunked that. And our brand value as a community went up. You mean these people are not, can do, I just felt good to be a Kikuyu. I felt good to be a Mt.Kenya. I have watched generational burden of being said that you cannot vote for somebody from outside our tribe. 2 years later, no matter how much the provocation, we now go again and diminish that brand by saying, look, they can't even persevere. They cannot even wait for 2 years. The people are now telling us, Uhuru Kenyatta, despite everything, he was patient. That adds to our brand value as a community. I feel so ashamed. I feel so embarrassed to be associated with a community which says, unless it is you who is leading, see, at least you wait for 3 years or 4 years. Even the 5 years that's allowed within our democracy. But to be associated that I cannot be patient to wait, hata kama niwekwe vidole kwa macho, that I cannot wait for 5 years, that is a serious erosion of the brand value of my community. And I will never forgive Rigathi Gachagua for that. Because this is a brand that we just salvaged from an unfair perception. On the very worst, 2 years, 3. How do I now run away from the commitment we made together? And said we are going to change school education, we are going to change agriculture, we are going to change this. He was impeached, he did not run away. No, but what are the, I have told you about the set of conditions. How do you get yourself to be impeached? How do you get yourself to be impeached? So you deserve a medal. Getting impeached. For extracting defeat from the vicious jaws of victory.
What should he have done?
Yeah?
What should he have done? If it was you, what should he have done?
Just a little bit patient and a little bit involvement.
By the
a little bit involvement.
not him.
I was only a minister, my friend. This guy was a privileged guy. He was a privileged guy. He was chairing cabinet committees. I don't want to divulge what happens there. I took oath. You never took oath. I don't want to say there, but this is a privileged man. He's a privileged man who was...
So you're blaming him for his own impeachment?
I am blaming him solely for his own goal. OG.
Okay.
It's an own goal because, and you know, sometimes we are provoked. We are not always happy. In families, in businesses, in government, it's not always rosy. You know, life is not like that. You know, ask all Kenyans, are you happy? Nobody is happy. People would want to see a different reality, a different life. But you know, I need to be sensitive. That is not about me only. For example, for like him, from my community, who was a senior most member, 10 million people behind him.
Are they
10 million people. Yeah?
Are they still behind him?
Well, the jury is still out.
Is
the
it
out.
the Mt.Kenya kingpin?
Well, let me say this about Kingpin. First, I don't know about a position called Kingpin, but I'll say this. Right now, Gachagua has said by end of this month, he's going to have his party. For me, other people are excited. I'm not excited. I've been a party leader for the last 4 years. Okay, so it's not something to, it's nothing to, you know, to go, you know, naked in the streets about it. It's for me, it's normal. I've been a party leader, but I'll say this: when you go around, and I want you to look at this. Governor of Nairobi, the Honorable James Kuria, is already anointed. Yeah? Governor of Kiambu, my good friend Katondu Mushomba, is already anointed. Governor of Murang'a, Senator John Newto, is already anointed. Governor of Kirinyaga, no, by Kingpin. Governor of Kirinyaga, Kamau Murango, is already appointed.
These are all senators.
Governor of no, listen, because we know what's happening. You know, you have seen people, chukua mkono, udio mtu yenu. So democracy does not matter. People have no power. Governor of Laikipia, let me finish for you. Governor of Laikipia, the Honorable Ketu Aruguru is already anointed. So, Governor of Nyandarua, the Honorable Senator John Newto is appointed. He's already anointed. He's
endorsing them.
Endorsement. You know, governors. Governor of Nakuru, the Honorable, my good friend, Onesimus Kimani Ngujiri, is already anointed. Governor of Nyeri, the member of parliament for Embakasi Central, Major Dong, is already appointed.
Endorsed.
So what endorsed? What are you telling people? So let's see how this story goes.
Yeah.
But I've been in the politics for 3 decades, and I know how these stories end.
So is he the kingpin or not?
Well, if kingpins is about anointing and, you know, killing democracy, telling people they have got no say, let me say, jury's still out. Let's see how this story goes.
Okay. Let's stay with that conversation in just a bit, but let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're still staying with the political issues here at Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag JKLIVE. We'll speak about quite a number of issues and also bring up your questions as well. Let's talk about a bit of SHA as well here and there. Let's stay with JKL.